Hello and welcome to the Illinois Association of Park Districts Parkcast. I'm Wayne Utterback, Director of Communications and Digital Content, and I am delighted to be joined today by Lake County Forest Preserve District Executive Director Ty Kovach for our Parkcast. Thank you so much for joining us, Ty.
Well, thank you for having me.
Now, we're going to touch on just a few subjects today, but I always like to start off by just asking a little bit about your Forest Preserve District. What can you tell me about it? What makes it unique? What makes it stand out?
Well, the Lake County Forest Preserve District is the second largest in the state next to Cook County. We have nearly 31,000 acres of land that we manage for the residents in Lake County. Just over 200 miles of trail, a number of what I call, spine trails that really connect in or link up the entire county with municipalities. We have the connection from Wisconsin to Cook County, the Des Plaines River Trail and the Des Plaines River Corridor. We have the Millennial Trail that really does the loop around to the west part. And there's a couple of segments in there that aren't quite completed, but even though we don't have development dollars anymore, we're still able to leverage grants to continue work. And really important actually two important projects that are going on right now is that we're doing a tunnel under Route 45, which is a really important part of the Millennial Trail that will get us to the west side of Route 45. And simultaneous to that, we're working on phase one of connecting just to the north to the Pine Dunes Forest Preserve from Ethel's Woods, which is another really important part of the trail that isn't completed yet, which is really going to leave us just a couple of little segments that are already planned and will be taken care of through transportation projects, and they're hopefully not too distant future.
All right, fantastic. Now, what has the visitation been like since the pandemic started?
We've been up someplace between 40 and 50%.
Wow.
Our golf courses, we have 3 golf courses, and golf was struggling before, and it's sort of, the silver lining is that, we had just a record golf year, or we had a record golf year in 2020, but just our preserves in general up 40 to 50%. And then, the social media, because people are really looking at what's going on in the district, and people are going out of their way, I think, to communicate back to us how much they appreciate that the district was able to keep all of our preserves open. And so, initially we didn't know exactly how we were going to do this, what the sideboards would be. We followed the governor's communications, very closely, and we said, okay, we can do this, but we're going to really go out of our way to communicate to the public that we might not be able to hit the standards that we normally, would in a normal year, but we're going to keep them open. And the public really responded positively, and we kept that line of communication open, and they've gone out of their way to let us know how much they appreciate that, the open space is there and that it's available, and they're going out to our website and communicating with us through our social media outlets to give us that positive reinforcement.
Now, any particular uses that surprised you?
Surprises? Well, there's a few forest preserves that get, a lot of use as compared to others. We have, I think, maybe the only free access to Lake Michigan through our Fort Sheridan Forest Preserve. That really got heavy use. And a couple other ones down in the sort of the southeast there, Buffalo Creek, which required us a couple of times, unfortunately, to close the gates because we were just at capacity, and it created a safety issue. I think the other thing is, we went out of our way to ask people to follow protocols in the forest preserve during the pandemic, and with excellent response. And they were looking for that guidance. Please walk single file when you're passing other people. Please socially distance yourself. We never went as far as to add or to require or even ask that they wear the safety equipment, face masks. But a lot of people were doing that anyway. So yeah, just a positive response is really the big thing there, and that people that had never been in the forest preserve before suddenly found that outlet during a pandemic, and they got out there and they used it. So I'm expecting that we're going to see something very similar in the coming months here as we get into spring and summer. So we're already having conversations about that and how we're going to do that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now you mentioned open space. I want to ask real quickly about that. How much open space has your forest preserve been able to protect?
Well, we have 31,000 acres of land. We're really not purchasing a lot of land right now because in 2008 there was a referendum, and in the past, right when the EAV was declining, which is really interesting, people still saw the need to protect and preserve land. We've expended that actually within the last few months here. Just the last of those dollars have been used up. So it just in protected land in Lake County, we're roughly around 11% of the landscape. We're very strategic about what we buy, and we put an emphasis on really taking a further macro look at the landscape through a green infrastructure model that we use to make sure that we're buying land that is at the highest priority level in terms of either enhancing the ecological services or connectivity in some way.
All right. Now, I want to ask some questions more directly gauged towards you. What's the best advice you've ever been given?
I think the best advice I have ever been given, which I'm going to turn this just a little bit, is that, and so if the question was, what is your favorite preserve? And I would say all the preserves are lovely in their own way and equally as important. And so I think it's that the answer is around always embrace equality. Everything has its place, and no one thing makes something better than the other place. They're all important in some way. And so I think the answer is that really look at the equality of whatever you're working with or working on.
Now, what advice would you give a 21-year-old?
I would tell a 21-year-old to really engage and understand what needs to be done for future generations. And they should think not about themselves. They should not think about if they have future kids or future grandkids. They should think about great-great-grandchildren and the changes that need to be made right now. And there's no better way to do that than to really understand the importance of nature, and not only conservation and preserving what we have right now, but how we can actually do better in the coming generations. To do that, you get started at the easiest level. If you're interested in conservation work, start out as a volunteer. Network, understand it, never quit learning, and understand this. Our landscape is the future for our great-great-grandchildren. It's the decision we're making right now, because that's the reason we have a 100-year vision at the district, because we know it's going to take about 100 years to really get the landscape to where we think it is, a completely healthy landscape.
Now, if you could go back in history of your forest preserve and talk to one person, who would it be and why?
I'd really like to talk to Ethel Untermeyer, the one that started the referendum that created the Forest Preserve District in Lake County through a referendum in 1958. So I know I've never had the pleasure of meeting her, but certainly read a lot about her, and I know some of her family members, and yeah, I'd love to talk to her about how she got to where she took on a referendum and was really the catalyst for what we have here today in Lake County.
Now, what are some of the plans for the future of your preserves?
Well, we'd like to continue protecting land for sure. And so, at some point in the future here, when the timing's right, and we'd like to get more land acquisition dollars and continue to work on those, and those really strategic, important connections that are out there to fulfill missing links in our green infrastructure model.
Now, what is one thing you would like one of your constituents or users to know about your Forest Preserve District?
that were just a little over 2% of the tax bill.
That's a fantastic answer.
So they get a lot. You get a lot of bang for your buck.
Yeah,
And
do
I
you
think
feel,
it speaks for itself out there.
absolutely. I was going to say the breadth of services that forest preserves
Mhm.
offer people is it's just innumerable. And on top of that, during this pandemic, I know for myself personally, I was getting outdoors more than usual, and it was just a really wonderful experience to have that available just out there. You don't have to
Mhm.
worry about it. You don't think about it. It's available for everybody. There's always space. There's always room for you to just have your own experience. But yeah, I thank you so much for doing the work that you do and for taking some time out of your day to just sit and talk with me.
Oh, great. My pleasure.